You're watching my favorite YouTube channel. This is the 214th issue of the comic book series known as Black Panther. Funny thing is, T'Challa's in every single one of them, even though it's a mantle, and it feels like we as the Black Panther fans are facing some sort of dilution of the franchise where they try to associate that word with anything but him to, I don't know, diminish him, his effectiveness, and spread and divide the effectiveness of what this positively impactful character can provide. There's a new video game that I'm referencing right now. This is called Black Panther. The screen is all black. Everything's dark. The next page you turn, you get blasted with color. I appreciated that experience there. The actual cover, I didn't appreciate. Not that writing on the cover is wrong to do, but it was misleading. And I'll get more into that when I'm talking to both Theo and D-Real. I'll schedule a time with them and we'll do a T'Challa time where we can discuss longer in depth this comic book. I did that last time for issue number 1, and you can expect it issue 2. And I will have the panel assembled where we could talk about, what's the word? False advertisement. That's what I was looking for. This woman here, Bisa, as far as I know, she's not much of a threat, but she has everything under control. When T'Challa is swiping at her, she's talking like she has everything, and she's smiling even when she's like knocked out, she's handcuffed, and he's like, he hears people, so he's got to run away. She's still smirking and having a little moment with herself, like she isn't bugged by him. She also doesn't believe he's really T'Challa. She's just like, oh, some boy with grandeur, with a dream to be the king. He's like, yeah, something like that. It's so nice to hear T'Challa talk like T'Challa again, because the guy who was rubbish, who wrote this for 15 issues prior, was making him sound not regal and stuff. Even here, when he's chit-chatting with himself, just talking to himself, speaking, he's like, no, I should be saying the word whom and not who. And then Shuri was like, are you talking to yourself right now? T'Challa, okay? Main character. Shuri, big supporting character. Haven't been seeing her much. But we did get the Midnight, what's her name? What's her name? Nightshade, I said. Midnight. We see Nightshade showing up. This is a surprise appearance of a character I had no idea existed. I had to go pull it up on my computer and see her show up. I'll ask Theo and I'll ask D-Real about that because they seem to know everything. They knew about the Deathlock and the past appearances. I'll ask them about who Nightshade is and why Nightshade is important. Probably not that important. It was only like one page, which is what cameos should be. They're here to support the story, and we're out. This is the T'Challa comic book, and if anyone needs elevating right now, it would be him, and I think with it, I like the philosophy of we're going to spend time on the villain and we're going to spend time on T'Challa. The villain will motivate T'Challa and affect him, and vice versa. The contrast is seen better when you got the villain. Look at the cover. Villain T'Challa. That's very Stanley Jack Kirby. All they were doing was pumping out villains and heroes, and people get into the weeds of stuff. I could read into stuff too. So Bisa is supposed to be East African inspired. There's a country in East Africa that was uncolonized. And that doesn't matter because election interferences and other ways have robbed resources. Like, oppression still happened to Ethiopia. That's where she's dressed that way. That's where the garments that she wears, that's where that's inspired from, right? So if I'm really reading into it, she's some sort of like knowledgeable person who sees that, okay, there's a democracy going on here. This is the beginning of downfall, because as soon as the enemies can get in their candidates, whether that's, I don't know, America, Latveria, Dr. Doom wanting some revenge, maybe that's the long-term plan here. That's why they have a democracy here rather than going into a kingship. If I'm writing this comic book and they have Folashade and she's making new rules, you hear what Shuri said, that there's going to be a transparency law where all of my communications are going to be monitored, right? Because I'm a person who works for the state, no more privileges and that kind of. With all of this happening, it's very Palpatine, Darth Sidious, Emperor. It's very Star Wars. All this happening, I would lead to, if I'm writing, It's an election coming up, and T'Challa wins the election. He doesn't even campaign. He just gets written in. 90% of the people said, yeah, we see what's going on in Africa. We know how this all goes. T'Challa's fine. Listen, we're well versed in combat, and should we need to revolt, we can easily dethrone the king if we all got together, and if it ever got that bad. Wakanda's been so far so good this long. King T'Challa, welcome. So now he's Prime Minister, King, Galactic Emperor, superhero. He's everything back all over again. So that's me. Because I'm kind of impatient when it comes to the him not being king thing. And since, let's go to the ending. We see how it's not going to end with him being the king again. It's going to resume with him having a discussion with her. So don't expect him to be the king by issue number 3 if you were keeping count. I don't know how patient you guys are. If anyone leaves a comment, and I want every single one of you to leave a comment, please. Every single one of you leave a comment. How much longer can you go without T'Challa being the king? I don't want it to last another issue, right? So if you asked me, I would say issue 3, make him king again, right? That's me. But how patient are you? Write the comment right now, please. Don't look at this like, oh, he's asking, he's looking for engagement. I'm curious generally, and I'm sure everyone watching this can benefit from it. So please write that comment there. If you're not signed into a YouTube account, sign in and write a comment. Create a YouTube account to sign in, just so I know which issue. Issue 4, issue 5, issue 6, because they write for the trades. Issue 12 after the second kind of trade. Is that when it's okay? He'll be the king again, and it'll be a whole year, of Ewing comics, but it would be more than a year of him not being the king. And some comics seeming to honor that, and some comics pretending like that doesn't matter. If you guys read the Avengers, you can see it still calls him the king because everyone has a moniker, and they go T'Challa the king. It's weird to me. So the overarching villain, I think, will be Deathlock, and he's sort of manipulated. You can see him say, no, I don't want to do this again. I don't want to. He's being controlled, and he's being I'm going to have sympathy towards him. Nightshade in here, Deathlock in here. I kind of skipped over this. T'Challa transforms himself into a character whose name is I-Z-E, Eyes, and that's him. And Shuri laughs at how silly it is, but he's just pretending to be a man on the streets. He's got a job. He's got a backstory. He works for a woman named Faiza. They stop here a couple times to explain some world building stuff, like how all of the citizens here have money and no one's really poor. They stopped to Shuri actually explains to him he says to her, I still have the heart-shaped herb powers inside of me. I needed to hear that. And I'm still willing to be the Black Panther. And I am remembering how to rely more on my senses, my intuition. I like knowing that he is being elevated, even in that respect. Make him the king now. He's improving himself. We'll come out of this volume that Dr. Ewing is writing with a better T'Challa because of it. Did I get on the last page? I did. That's about all, man. That's about all. This is Beisa. This is her in her normal human form. I'm digging it. Very colorful. She's got her own little pad. And then the next last thing is the map of Wakanda. What a show of effort, of passion to storytell. I know we only got 20 pages of comic, but here we're going to add more to it. This is the map of Wakanda. This is where Burning T'Chaka is up here, where the Jabari lands, just so you guys can now put we're world building, and man, just we Chris Allen and Eve Ewan, the whole team, we appreciate who this character is, and he's definitely worth the added bonus of, this is the map revised. Here it is, readers. Enjoy this. You got to appreciate that. I'm very happy that T'Challa's on the come up. I'm unhappy that he's down, and he's still down. It's a mixed kind of emotion when it comes to him not being king and the trash writer from prior getting to dictate what happens here in this comic. It's a mixed emotion. There's probably some more things I can think of to say, but that's what the video on T'Challa time is going to be all about. I'll probably run up an hour of chit-chatting with both D-Real, Theo, and if I get another guest, who would be a good guest to have with us? Who's a good panelist? I already asked you to write a comment, but anyone who didn't write a comment, who's a good like Black Panther reader that I could link up with? Might hit up Mike. If T'Challa time is up, it's be on the side of my face here. And if it's not up, just watch one of my Jonathan Majors coverage or one of the, I don't know, recast T'Challa videos. Check that out.